Hello?
Hey, it's Roland again. Do you remember that time I played all the different versions of Shrek 2? No, you don't. That didn't happen. In the hypothetical world where I did talk about all the Shrek 2 games, empirical data informs us that I would have forgotten about the most important installment, Shrek 2 Ogre Bowler, but I'm pretty sure that was somebody else. How did we come to this? Well, I always blame Katzenberg, but I guess a more direct culprit would be the game studio Wild Tangent. I've been told they made games, but I'm skeptical. There's a decent shot you've come into contact with at least one of their games. I mean, I haven't, but I don't know what kind of crowd you hang with. One of their more popular releases was a game called Polar Bowler, a bowling game where you launch a polar bear in an inner tube at some pins. Yeah! For what it is, sure, fine. I'm not gonna waste time criticizing Polar Bowler. That's like picking on somebody's pet hamster, unfulfilling. It's just a quick and easy bowling game to put on Grandpa's computer to keep him occupied for a few seconds, and for the time, it was probably just neat to see a nicely rendered 3D game that you could easily understand, but something tells me this game wasn't groundbreaking. Maybe I'm wrong, though. If I squint really hard, I can start to see how this influenced God of War. I mean, it was at least decent enough to get ports to mobile phones and the DS, but it's not like those two platforms had standards. It's a serviceable time waster, you can't really fault it. I just have one note. Perfect. Shrek 2 Ogre Bowler. Go f*** yourself. DreamWorks was hitting their stride at this point. They had blood money on their hands. They wanted to slap Shrek 2 branding everywhere, so I guess this made sense. I'm really curious as to why Polar Bowler was on DreamWorks' radar for Shrek 2 marketing, but I'm pretty sure gaining that information would turn my brain into applesauce, so ignorance it is. Regardless, it's here with us now. We have to set a place at the table for it. I want to see if it earns its meal. Let's play it all the way through. Ooh, that didn't feel good to say. So, Wild Tangent isn't satisfied with you simply purchasing Shrek 2 Ogre Bowler, you also gotta download their own proprietary application to access it from your computer. Aw, that's so cute, they think they're Valve. I'm saying this right now so that I am held accountable. My Wild Tangent game library will never go beyond 1. Let's get this starty-parted. What are you so happy about? Oh wow, we got 3 unlockable characters and 3 unlockable stages! I'm so excited, I'm gonna vomit! I can choose between Ogre Bowl and Straight Bowl. I did not think this game was gonna out people before they even got to the gameplay. This game costs $10. Ogre Bowler? More like Over the Hedge. It's fine. I am pushing buttons and things are happening. It looks good. Making a 3D game is hard. I couldn't make this. I wouldn't even know where to start. I should be grateful. What am I expecting? It's Shrek 2 Ogre Bowler. What, you want a fucking Rembrandt? A Rembrandt? It's not a bad game, it's just bowling. Launch Shrek with a slingshot, use the arrow keys or the mouse to move him left and right. You can pick up items on your way to the pins. I don't care what they do. Repeat for 10 frames and then you're done. You get the same experience watching this footage right now as I had playing it. The music is just the music you would hear on the menu of the Shrek 2 DVD. On loop. Forever. Ooh, I'm angry. I'm so angry. Look at the vein forming on my forehead. I'll bet this made some kids happy at the time. I bet there's people out there who would feel a great sense of nostalgia playing it right now. I'm not one of those weirdos. I like Rugrats. I'm not hating playing this game right now. I'm not loving it. I'm not learning more about myself or the world around me, but I don't think that was part of the advertised experience. That's my problem. I look at Shrek 2 Ogre Bowler and I think, what am I learning? I'm supposed to play it for like 20 minutes and then go back to balancing my checkbook. Am I forgetting anything to talk about? No. I guess just to be certain, I should play enough to unlock all the characters and lanes. So I guess I'll do that. Do you think media preservation is inherently a positive endeavor? I've been thinking about it lately, what with websites like archive.org and even groups of people going to great lengths to preserve physical media like in-store video game advertisements and displays. I can't help but wonder, is everything that is being preserved worth it? I know that's a bit of a loaded question, but I think we should consider it. The overwhelming sentiment to the general idea of media preservation, at least to those who think of it in terms of preservation, is sort of a preserve anything and everything you can mentality. Might as well archive an entire block of commercials from the 80s because odds are one might be important. One might be nostalgic or a good window into the specific moment it aired, but you can't preserve everything, right? There is a limit. If nothing else, the manpower necessary to house every piece of media ever, both physically and digitally, just isn't feasible, mainly because it isn't profitable or subsidized by the government on such a broad scale. There's not enough warehouse storage to keep all the Kung Fu Panda movie theater statues, and I won't act like I know how digital storage works in the slightest, but I would assume there's a limit there too. Also, to what extent do you consider a piece of media unique? Do you preserve a specific airing of an episode of Jimmy Neutron because the Nickelodeon logo in the corner is slightly different than the ones already preserved? So this, in turn, begs the question, where do we draw the line of what is and is not worth preserving? If you have two old, obscure computer games and only space enough on a hard drive for one with the other being lost to time, which one goes on? How do we quantify that, and who decides it? The model we find ourselves in, whether it's intentional or not, is sort of a majority model. If there's something that a substantial group of people can agree is important, there will in turn be more efforts to keep it around. So, if one of the obscure computer games is a Scooby-Doo game, then you already have a collection of people who find it important, so there's your answer. But is there nothing to say for the kid who had a good experience with the other game and wants it preserved if they don't have the means to do it themselves? Realistically, this is an outlandish extreme example, but it outlines the idea that you can't know exactly how important a specific piece of media could be to someone, but then you also can't preserve everything, so you're left with a dilemma. I guess why this whole idea is on my mind is that I see so many things getting preserved left and right or rediscovered when they were thought to be lost media, and that's fantastic. I just wonder if it's sustainable or even good for us. How much are we actually preserving rather than just prolonging an inevitable loss? How much time is considered a successful preservation? A year? 10 years? 100? 1,000? It's hard to not only keep the media intact to pass on to future generations, but also we have to pass on the story of why it's important and worth keeping. Not to mention how freak accidents can happen. A hard drive gets corrupted or a warehouse burns down. Suddenly all the original Wallace and Gromit sets and models are a pile of ash. I worry that we're all heading towards significant disappointment with tricking ourselves into believing that we can make everything we care about permanent, when that's not really what life is. Life is loss. Not exclusively, but you can't go through life without loss. I would say, at least as an effort to stay optimistic, that's beautiful. So, where my mind has been lately, would it be more beautiful if we let certain things fade away as they naturally are supposed to? Would we be better off if we trained ourselves to accept that loss with the passage of time so that all we're left with is an incomplete record and memory? Would it be better if we were stingier with what we preserved? A historian would say that's fucking bonkers, and yeah, I agree, but on a personal level, specifically with regards to very specific media, it might be a good idea to at least entertain. We don't want to be hoarders, especially not hoarders of the mind. Like, I'll speak for myself. If Shrek 2 Ogre Bowler was just a couple of blurry screenshots and stories of people thinking they remembered playing the game, it would be the coolest thing. This game that potentially happened instead of this game that I can play whenever. Would it be better if it was lost to time? For me? Probably. I beat it. So on Wild Tangent's website, you have the option to rent this game for 4 hours for $2.49. If you play this game for more than 4 hours, stop. I have seen everything Shrek 2 Ogre Bowler has to offer. Was it worth it? No. Yes. It didn't take much time, and I got a strange sense of accomplishment in unlocking everything in it. Like taking out the trash. It's not pleasant, but once you're done, it feels nice for a minute. And that minute was pretty neat. My little reward is seeing how much they butchered the character models. This game is a nothing game. It's just what it is. It accomplishes absolutely everything it sets out to do, and still feels underwhelming. I don't have critiques. This is what the game is supposed to be. It's cannon fodder. It's an app. It's DS shovelware. I'll probably play it again, though. I don't care. Self-growth is for losers. treasures. I'm becoming a hoarder. Play Shrek 2 Ogre Bowler. I fucking dare you. Hopefully it doesn't crash on you as much as it did on me. Happy Halloween, everybody. I hope you had just as much scaring as I did caring. Life doesn't have to be complicated. You're doing fine. Take a breath, go outside, and come back in and play Shrek 2 Ogre Bowler. While I didn't enrich any part of my life in the process, I can at least now say that I am a man of my word.